It made the deaths like Biko, Mandela, Kathrada to be null and void. So I made this video yesterday and it generated quite a bit of debate, but I thought to myself, guys, it's 2023, yet we're still arguing and debating these traditionalist worldviews that they died and sacrificed their lives for. Things like racism, colonialism, segregation. Their deaths were meant to shatter these racist theories into 100 million pieces, yet we're still talking about them today. Have made the deaths like Biko, Mandela, Kathrada to be null and void. So I made this video yesterday and it generated quite a bit of debate, but I thought to myself, guys, it's 2023, yet we're still arguing and debating these traditionalist worldviews that they died and sacrificed their lives for. Things like racism, colonialism, segregation. Their deaths were meant to shatter these racist theories into 100 million pieces, yet we're still talking about them today. They sacrificed for the betterment of our futures, yet we're still so fixated on the past. Now obviously, let's not be ignorant and disregard things of the past just because it's convenient to my narrative. And by the way, if you can't see these things today, maybe you're one of the more privileged ones. But of course, I'm not going to be like those black TikTokers who are like, oh no, you're so privileged, you can't talk about this. And by the way, have you ever thought it's always the people who cry so much about racism, segregation, who contribute the most to the division among us? But I digress. Then you ask yourself, what was the purpose of their deaths? And obviously nuance is key here, because the very fact I'm able to come on this platform and share my views is testament to Biko and Mandela. But then you look around in our country, there's so much division. Lol, there's not only white on black racism now, we've upgraded. There's black on white racism and there's black on black racism. And you're like, isn't this what they died for? Then you realize it's the greediness of our politicians and the scourge of racism, which is so deeply embedded within our society, that has sabotaged the futures of 2 generations. And that's why I call out those black South Africans who use apartheid as an escape hatch to avoid taking accountability. Because it's been half a century, 30 years. Then you ask yourself, okay guys, what happened? What happened? What did we do for 30 years? And they don't know. But 30 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, it's gonna be apartheid. No, it's apartheid. Come on guys. Come on.
You EFF gaffer.
The reason why I did not even stitch the other video that you made.
So as I've delved into South African political TikTok, I found there's this particular subset of black South Africans who are so good at seeing apartheid and everything. They'll be talking about load shedding, apartheid, Trevor Noah, apartheid. They're so good at seeing apartheid or racism and everything. Then you read the comments to the videos and they're like, you mara sham bestie, apartheid actually wasn't that long ago, sham. Then you realize apartheid was 30 years ago, that's half a century ago. In 30 years, Michael Jackson died, Princess Diana died, Prince died, Queen Elizabeth died. And mind you, I'm not against pointing out the atrocities of the past, like they must never be forgotten. But one of the reasons they keep on pushing apartheid is so that when someone who holds the same extremist beliefs as they do comes into power, they're just gonna switch up, they're gonna push apartheid onto the white people. And I know this by the party that they want to vote for. Yes, it's the red one. And I realize these people actually don't care about oppression or racism, so long as it's not happening to them. I see this by how they're willing to turn a blind eye to the racism that the Red Party is doing. Or you ask them about the racism of the ANC and their racist policies, and they can't answer. But now what they want to do is they want to exact the revenge Mandela couldn't do after 1994. Remember, the Afrikaners were scared Mandela and the ANC were going to exact revenge upon them for the 50 years of oppression. But Mandela chose forgiveness and mercy. But now they want to do what Mandela wasn't able to do. And you see it's shame, like they're trying so hard to find somebody to blame. Because as a matter of fact, whether you like to admit it or not, most people who are part of apartheid, or at least the people you want to hold accountable, are dead. They are long dead. So Bona, what they want to do now is they want to basically make the children of the perpetrators pay for the sins of their forefathers. These are people who had nothing to do with apartheid whatsoever, but because you're the great-grandchild or the grandchild of the perpetrators, you will pay for what he did. And having kept apartheid relevant, they're just gonna flip it and do black racism on the white people.
It's because I genuinely understand. Unlike other black creators who are criticizing you positively, because that's how I see it, I'm not going to do either. I'm just going to agree with you. Looking at you, this is what happens when you spend 8 hours or more in a white school. This is what happens when you want to be accepted by your group of white friends. You know that void in your heart that fills great whenever that white teacher approves you and commands you on the way that you speak, or rather your good grades and how fast you run when she sends you to go make copies for her. Sibu, kan jy asseblief kom by die kantoor? I get that you need that acknowledgement, and they acknowledge you. I can see you got over 13 likes and mostly come from them. You are the typical example of what a black democratic South African should behave. Oh, wait. This was so important. I wanted to say it to you in the beginning, but I forgot. But I'm gonna whisper it to you. Racism is a system. You cannot shatter it into a million pieces because it's a system that operates in this country. And you cannot use it for everybody because that system has a rule. And it operates on a certain function. That is why that black people cannot access certain informations about apartheid and how it functioned, because it is something that is reserved for white people. And I need you to understand this so that you can keep that into your black brain. No matter how clear your speech is, it doesn't matter how many white girls you're trying to get into your side, or those white people you're trying to please, you're still going to remain that black boy with a low self-esteem, because that's how I see it. Whenever a black person does this, pick me, white people, pick me, please. And this is why I agree with you, Smarty Pants. You are so smart. I really hope you get the acknowledgement.
To that lady who made a video about me saying I seek the validation of my white teachers when she goes to send me for copies, Sissy, you do not know my life. And instead of subjugating me to some imaginary story made up in your head, if you actually knew me, and the people who know me know, I'm not afraid to disagree with white people, especially white teachers. I do not need white validation because I know my worth. I have Jesus Christ and I have a loving family. Now I wonder what is an adult black woman doing attacking a black teenager on the internet while there is a system and white people actively working to oppress her? Where does she find the time to do that? Neither do I seek nor want black validation, and I would much rather be let go, as you guys would say, than to associate myself with racists.
We charge that the ANC's president and its calories have been loyal to white liberals, and black people's oppressors, hence the ownership patterns in the economy are tilted towards whites. Not much has changed in terms of ownership since colonial apartheid era. South Africa is still owned by white supremacists even if we were in the democratic country. That means there had been few opportunities in the past 25 years for black people to actually realize their dreams of owning a sizable portion in the South Africa economy. Many Africans are still very poor, and those who have access to mainstream education can only do that as long as they are salaried, which means that they are 30 days away from poverty. Actually, Africans are still slaves in their own land. White supremacists own everything: land, mines, banks, factories, shopping centers, malls, industries, farms, many private companies, university, and school management is dominated by the liberal Eurocentric views of the oppressors. Africans do not own the land and mines and factories. Even their opinions must be approved by the oppressors. As long as the ANC elects black presidents to serve white liberals in a white country, the African people are going to struggle and suffer in the hands of the oppressor. The PAC warned the ANC about privatization and the danger of capitalism, neoliberalism, and imperialism, which manifests itself in various ways. The labor brokers continue to exploit our people. There are no benefits for those who are employed. It is profit before human beings. The ANC, claimed to be the champion of human rights, is complicit and is a party to the exploitation of our people. Firstly, I want you to acknowledge that you are a black boy who one day grow up to be a black man. Even your privilege included will not protect you from systemic oppression. You behave like a typical democratic black South African that white people expected black South Africans to become. You act and feel and think in the lines of that which benefits the interest of white people. The way that you think is not even a threat to them, they are much happier that you think along the lines that you think. Of course, you will continue to seek white validation and white approval, even from that God you worship. In fact, it even starts from there, that God that you worship. You will continuously never be enough for that God that you worship. You will forever, as long as you exist as a black person, continue to beg for mercy, for love and cherishingness from that white God, because you are never enough as it is. Now, for you to actually villainize me and make yourself look like the victim is where it confuses me, because you are the one who said that the EFF is pushing extremist beliefs that will one day make white people to be treated in the exact way black people are treated. However, when you look into South Africa, banks and everything else benefit them more than it benefits everyone else. They get to live the most comfortable that they've ever lived ever since they arrived here, and they seek to maintain that. I cannot therefore become a racist even by definition, because I am not. I can be a prejudice, but I can never be a racist, because a racist is attached to many faculties that I don't even qualify for. As you do acknowledge that I am a black woman who's systemically oppressed, even more so than a black man is. Now, to make me look like I'm this black woman who's after you, it's giving colonizing behavior. But what do I expect from somebody who's thinking along those lines? And when you fight against the EFF and you call them racist, a racist party, because they are fighting for a state-owned country where we are not exploited, because you seem to forget that you are not protected. You are black, and you seem to forget it. You know what you remind me of? Do you want to know what you remind me of?